Welcome to the latest project in the shop then. 1969 Jaguar E-Type, which I believe makes it a Series 2. Any of you Jaguar guys can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think it's a Series 2. It's in for a full bare metal repaint, so we're going to be stripping it down and going straight back to bare metal, addressing any issues that we find along the way. Of course, the reason why we're doing that, if you look up close, it is a little bit damp at the moment, so it's hard to pick up on the camera, but you've just got these rust bubbles and micro blisters. You can just about catch it in the paintwork there, but they are absolutely everywhere on this car. The entire car is covered for whatever reason. It's just starting to come through on every single panel now, as you can see. Some worse than others, but again, the roof, you can't see it now because it's a little bit damp, but it is covered in micro blisters. Likewise the boot, catch it in the light there. So yeah, various micro blisters. One of the largest issues at this stage is the gap on the bonnet there. Gonna have to take a look at that to see exactly what we can do with that. Little dents, dings here and there, but nothing too major. For some reason there's a couple of quite sharp ones on the bonnet, upwards as it were. Quite a large dent there too. But anyway, keeping this one as standard as we possibly can. Customer does not want to mess with this one too much. We need to treat the rust areas because that is never going to get better by itself. So that's the reason that it's in, but he wants to keep it absolutely as original as we can. So full glass out, bare metal respray in the same colour. Got to figure out what the colour is as well, actually. That's another thing. If you look, these panels here, it's quite clearly had some work done in the past. You can see there, different colour here entirely to the other panels. It's quite substantial on the phone there. It's actually quite substantial under these lights. Not so much outdoors, you can't see it as much, but yeah, clearly something's happened to it in the past. Likewise, I did catch something down here before. Someone has had a go at doing something here. You can hear it. Not got any gloss at all, so there's some sort of patchwork or some sort of previous repair or something going on there. As you would expect for a car of this sort of age, to be fair. Yeah, that's enough of an introduction. Let's get started on this one, see where we go. Okay, it doesn't really look like it, but that is one E-Type completely stripped now to the level that we need it to. Glass is obviously all out, all chrome's been removed, all trim pieces, doors, etc. I'm leaving the front bonnet on at the moment because the next stage, as you remember, the gap on the other side is completely wrong. It's not actually down at this stage anyway, but we need to investigate why it's doing that. I have got a few concerns. I said previously that the car's been repainted on this side quite clearly. It's a different colour there to there. You can see actually now that the glass is out, where they've lost it there. You can see the blend they've attempted there. And also, if you look closely along here, just that line there, it's a different colour here to here again. So they've lost it in this section here, and ambitiously somehow managed to lose it here, between here and here. So I don't actually fully know how they've done that, to be completely honest. So I can't quite see the join there, but they've somehow managed to join the two together. But anyway, as you can see, it is all completely stripped to the level that we need it. All seals are out. I'll show you next door as well. A few people have asked in the past how we organise things and what we do with that side. Yeah, I'll show you that afterwards. But for now, totally and utterly stripped. Like I said, a few concerns on this side of the car. Again, we've got rust issues down here. Don't know what's going on here. It'll become more evident once we start stripping all the paint off. But very obvious signs of some sort of previous work, or something has gone on this entire side. Which is to be expected. It's over 50 years old, isn't it, at the end of the day? But until we start stripping more, we are not going to be able to tell exactly what's happened with it. Yeah, can't really get much more different. There we are. Keep going, see what we find next. Welcome to the storage unit then, guys. This is the part of the shop that I don't normally show very often on the YouTube. But I was looking at the car a second ago as I was doing that walk around video, and it doesn't really look like we've done a huge amount. But I think if you see all the parts that we've got, it'll make a bit more sense. So this is what we do when we strip down a car anyway. Every single panel, every single piece, every single part of chrome, etc. is labelled. Left to right, where it is on the car, positioning, etc. And then obviously over here we have a lot more parts as well. Again, same sort of thing. Every single piece, even the obvious stuff, is labelled. It just makes it that much easier when it comes back to reassembly. Obviously the glass is here, rear glass, quarter windows, windscreens over the other side of the shop. All chrome pieces, again, every single piece is labelled. And obviously all the seals, of which on this car there are a lot. I was asked to try and keep these seals in as best condition as possible and keep the car as original as possible when it comes back to reassembly. We'll reuse the seals that are good enough to use. I have got replacements for everything as far as I am aware. We'll have to check the box and make sure when it comes to the reassembly side of things. In all honesty, so far, the only one that I have really found which would have been able to be reused is actually the windscreen seal. And ironically, that is actually the one that I cut out. Now, there is a reason for me cutting that out. It's because the windscreen is so expensive on this. It's just a lot easier to cut them out. If we had made a mistake, just the smallest mistake in terms of removal, and we had broken that windscreen, look, at the end of the day, it's original windscreen. The seal is there to be replaced anyway. We've got a replacement seal, so that's the reason I took for that route. But everything else we've tried to keep as best as we possibly can. And lastly, this is just one of the boxes, but again, you can see we label everything up. Every single nut and bolt is in there, including extra little labels and stuff in there too. But yeah, just makes it, again, that much easier when it comes to the reassembly side of things. Because as you can see, there are actually a lot of pieces that we've taken off, and it all adds up. Anyway, crack on with the car, see where we're up to next. This might be the end of the video at this stage, I'm not really sure. I think I might just label it as an introduction video. But I'll check in with you if that is the case in a few seconds, probably. Okay, so what Tig's just done there is just using the Spectro to try and get a colour match on this. We've polished up the central section of the bonnet. You can see it's completely night and day difference to the rest of the car. The rest of the car currently has absolutely no gloss level to it whatsoever. But actually it polishes up fairly well. So yeah, we're just trying to get the colour code off this one at the moment. Jaguar Heritage is wanting £60 to figure out what the actual colour is. We believe it's opalescent silver grey. I think, as far as I'm aware, that is the only colour that these came in, but we're not positive. So we are just trying to find out exactly what the colour code is and whether or not our system gives us a decent match. We'll go from there, really. So we're just turning our attention then to the wing alignment. This is exaggerated at the moment because we have actually removed a lot of the bolts and hinges and catches and things like that in order to give us a bit of adjustments. Issue that we're having at the moment, for those of you who don't know how these E-types go together, the bonnet and anyway, they are complicated to say the least. Scuttle line on this one is good, or decent, is a decent starting point. edge along here is good. Obviously there's a dent there, don't worry about that for now. And the line along the bottom is also good. Give me 2 seconds, I'll pop the bonnet up and I'll show you a little bit more detail inside what we're looking at. So essentially these are mounted with that little plate down there. You've got shims on the top, you've got shims potentially on the underneath there. So you've got one on this side, one on the other side. That is the only thing which makes the whole alignment change on these bonnets. And it's a huge piece, as you can see. So what people do when necessary is essentially put more shims in these areas where it's needed to change the entire alignment. Putting one shim in there is going to change all the scuttle line, it's going to change the line along the bottom, it's going to change everything. But the reason we are potentially going to need to do that, I think I'm getting ahead of myself here, but it's because we've got these flanges. Flanges are sealed onto the wing itself and then obviously bolted into the section where they need to be here. We've undone all the bolts at the moment, along the top edge as well, just to give ourselves a little bit of play, wiggle room. But if you put the bonnet back down again, I'm going to try and show you this without trapping my fingers. There we are. So the issue that we're having now, we can just about get the play there to where this wing needs to be, and we'll be able to rebolt that into position. But when it's where it needs to be, it's going to be hitting the bottom of here. So unfortunately on this one, we are going to need to shim it out of position, also shim it on the front to raise this whole section up. Hopefully that's not going to change all the lines that we've got over the other side, but we'll need to shim it up first, and then we should be able to manipulate this section, push it back down into position, and rebolt it where it needs to be. I think probably what's happened is someone's done a repair slightly wrong in the past. They've potentially sealed the areas into the wrong position, maybe. It's always difficult to see exactly what's happened. We know there's been some sort of repair on this side of the car. I think that's probably what's happened. But regardless, we need to shim the bonnet up so that we can push this section back down further and hopefully get that alignment all sorted. End of the week on this one then, everything's going really smoothly. So you can see we've had a combination of mechanical and chemical stripping to get things back to bare metal. We had a lot of comments on, well not a lot, a couple of people who were very, very strongly worded on the Supra video in terms of how we'd stripped that one wrong. So I think you guys, or you two people in particular, if you're watching this video, are going to love the way we've done this, because we've done it exactly the same way again. I just wanted to briefly clarify, we're not using an angle grinder, we're not removing huge amounts of metal, we are purely using a rotary tool which is specific for this purpose. It doesn't warp the panels, it doesn't put too much heat into the panels. I'll be honest, it's quite an expensive tool, so it's designed for exactly this, and it also gives us an 80 grit key for the paint. Epoxy needs an 80 grit surface to go onto, so we're doing everything right as far as I'm concerned. We may get some more comments that we've done this one wrong again, I don't know, but I thought I'd clarify what we're using. Not an angle grinder. Yeah, it's just the correct way to do things. Anyway, hopefully by now you will have seen. Actually, no, you won't, so I haven't uploaded it yet, but you will very, very shortly see the Supra video, and you'll see that nothing's been warped, nothing's been distorted out of proportion or anything like that, so yes, that's enough on that. You can see as well, the chemical stripping side of things is incredibly messy. It leaves this weird brown residue, doesn't look nice, actually looks probably worse than we started with, but if we go around to the other side, this is the side now we've started to refine, so you get a bit more of an idea of what we're going for. But yeah, everything's going back to bare metal, all the flash rust is gone, and actually it's a very, very clean shell. So the various areas that I was worried about, previous repair down here, but nothing really. Previous repair over there, again, nothing really, and a previous repair on this door. A bit of filler in there, but again, nothing too major whatsoever. All the rust is pretty much gone. We will be removing a little bit more, you know, areas like that will be taken care of. And the arches, again, the arches actually I don't think are as bad as I first thought. There's a lot of bubbling going on there, but the bubbling actually is not rust bubbling. It's just some sort of protective sealant, well, I don't know if it's protective, but some sort of sealant that they put on there in the past, painted over the top of it, and it's a very bubbly, sort of wavy finish, so it actually makes it look a lot worse than it is. It's not rust. There is rust there, don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near as bad as I thought it was, so hopefully we won't need to cut those out. But I'll look at that in a bit more detail next week, probably. As for now, though, we are just going around the edges and tidying all these up. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to do things like this apart from going in there by hand with some sandpaper now. So long old tedious process, but doors are done as well, I should have said. Both doors done. But yeah, it's coming along quite nicely actually. So we are bare metal. We'll be going into epoxy shortly and then starting all the bodywork from there.